I'd like to call this November 9th regular council meeting to order. Would everybody please rise for a moment of silence, and let's remember all of those who passed away during the month. Please salute the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Gerard.
Present.
Mr. Devine.
Here.
Mr. Pezzer.
Here.
Ms. Collins.
Here.
Ms. Rodriguez.
Here.
Mr. Gorman.
Present.
Mr. Petrosi.
Present.
Mr. DeVito.
This time, we're going to open up to public participation. Anybody, chief, in the audience? No, sir. No, sir. That ends public participation. Joe, Mayor?
Just have a couple things. Some of the things are a repeat from last Monday's meeting. Excuse me. Federal and state mandates are coming down that will require some policy changes in the department for procedures and so forth. Fortunately for us, we've been working on those. Most policies are in place, but some deserve more clarification for the officers. With all the challenges that the police departments have been facing this year, there are a lot of changes relative to de-escalation and use of force and so forth. The Chief Henry has been working on a lot of these policies since last year and implementing them. Also, too, with those is the requirement for training for a lot of those. We did do the drug take back 2 weeks ago at the town hall in Grundy. It was very successful. Friday and Saturday, there was some reports of shots being fired. I just want to let everybody know I had received some calls from the council people, Councilwoman Rodriguez and Councilman Gorman, about it. Our police department on Friday and Saturday scoured the town, could not find anything. I just like to reach out to residents in the town, get off the Facebook and call the police department. All these things that float around on Facebook and Twitter, you know, most of them are unfounded. If there's a problem, call the police, call 911 or call our non-emergency number. I had mentioned that in the fire department, the fire board had a meeting. All the fire companies and their presidents met 3 weeks ago and talking about merger, and they're moving forward on that. And we do know that the state assessment that's been done for the fire department has been forwarded to Harrisburg. So hopefully sometime soon we'll hear something back, but the fire departments are actively moving forward with that. And just one last thing. We're all familiar with the Bristol Borough Learning Centers and the AOC, the Academic Oversight Committee. You know, normally we have a person of the year. We have our big fundraiser in November. Well, this year, because of the pandemic, we're still funding a lot of projects, after-school projects, online, virtual learning, and so forth. This year, we're doing what they call a No-Go Bristol Fall Classic, and they're selling raffle tickets for $75. And there's a $5,000 winner, a $2,000 winner, and a $1,000 winner. And it's going to go off, I believe it's December 8th, and it'll be a virtual drawing, and you'll be able to log in and watch the live drawing. So there's many people in town that are selling tickets. You can reach out to me and anybody on the AOC. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks,
Oh,
Mayor.
one other thing. I would just like to ask council to vote yes on motion 5 for the hiring of Lee Matthews as a part-time police officer as recommended by Chief Henry. Thank you.
All right, we're going to go through our agenda, and then we'll come back to some budget stuff. So, number 3 on the agenda.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to accept council meeting minutes for 9/14/20 and 10/5/20.
Second by Mr. Pezza. Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 4.
Mr., go ahead.
Mr. I'd like to make a motion to accept the resignation letter of Public Works employee Dave Waldron effective October 15th, 2020.
Second by Mr. Pezza. Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 5.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to authorize the hiring of Lee Matthews as part-time police officer per recommendation of Chief Henry.
Second by Mr. Catroci. Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 6.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to award the low bid to Armour and Sons in the amount of $92,215 per Gilmore. Recommendation upgrades to traffic signals funded by casino funds.
Second by Mr. Catroci. Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 7.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to authorize the 2020-2022 agreement from Tom Howe of Howe Associates. Howe Associates, I'm sorry.
Second by Mr. Catroci. Questions or comments? Mr. Devine.
Yeah, what's the agreement with Tom Ho?
Howe.
The guy, can you explain that?
Al.
The borough, along with other municipalities, joined together and used this firm to fill out the necessary paperwork that's required by DEP. And by doing this process, the borough does receive funds based on our recyclable collections by our trash company.
So it's based on your recycles.
Gotcha.
All right?
Yep.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 8.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the resolution to exercise the option to extend the refuse contract with Solid Waste Services, Inc., D/B/A, JP, with JP Mascara and Sons, and approve a 3-year payment proposal.
Second by Mr. Catroci. Questions or comments? Mr. Gerard.
Comments. In 2016, the borough accepted bids for trash removal. 3 bids were put in: Mascara, Waste Management, and Advanced Disposal. Mascara's bid came in at $9,123,552. Waste Management's bid came in at $7,987,007. And Advanced Disposal, came in at $6,351,557. Now, I won't talk about Advanced Disposal anymore because they withdrew their bid. So it was between Waste Management and Mascara's. Now, the difference in the price bids of the 2 bids is $1,136,545. Waste Management was that much lower than Mascara's. Now, you would think that this would be a no-brainer. Who should get the bid? You would think that Waste Management, being the largest trash hauler in the world, would get this contract. But, and there was always a but, the borough's contract had 8 words in the contract agreement that Mascaro fulfilled and Waste Management did not. The case went to court. The judge said to Mascaro, do these 8 words protect the borough more than the contract that does not contain the 8 words? Mascaro's lawyers responded, they absolutely do. These 8 words, it's a clause that would provide the borough financial cover should the company be awarded the contract and fail to sign the agreement. The judge then said to Waste Management, why didn't you include the 8 words? Their response was that the borough asked for a $9 million bid bond, and Waste Management gave the borough a bid bond of $20 million. They said that they could never hurt the borough financially because of their $20 million bid bond, so their huge bid bond made these 8 words meaningless. After a week, the judge ruled in favor of Mascaro, and Bristol Borough taxpayers had to pay an extra $136,545 over a 5-year period starting in early 2017. Now, 4 years later, not 5 as the contract calls for, Mascara wants an early advance payment after we gave them an extra $1,136,545 because of 8 words. I urge all financially responsible council members, those council members who are concerned with the finances of seniors on fixed incomes, concerned for young couples with young children on a budget, concerned with our own Bristol Borough budget, concerned with keeping Bristol affordable, to not exercise this option. And I would recommend that we only fulfill our 5-year contract and put the bid out again. I'm stating facts. I was in the courtroom for the hearing. I have written proof, if anybody would like to see it. And by putting it back to bid, I think we can save Bristol Borough taxpayers millions.
People are going to...
That would be a good thing.
What a joke.
That's all I got
Let me respond.
on that.
Mr.
I'm going to have the solicitor.
Mr. Gerard,
Yes, sir.
would you have this council break the law? Would you recommend this council break the law? Is that a no? Okay? You make it sound like this council cost the borough money.
Not
Okay?
really.
Let me finish. Okay? The bids were put out. The law is very clear. We must award to the lowest responsible and responsive bidder. Okay? I recommended it go to Mascaro because the bond that Waste Management submitted was not a proper bond. The court agreed with this. Waste Management did not appeal it, okay? So Mascara, whether you like it or not, was the lowest bid that we had accept, all right? But you want to bring this history up 4 years, from 3 years ago, for what purpose, I don't know. Number 2, obviously you didn't list in Mr. DiGiuseppe. If we have to put this out to bid next year because of the virus and what's happening with gas, we will certainly pay more than exercising those 2 years option. So your recommendation, if followed by this council, will cost the borough taxpayers more money. That's the facts.
I don't know how you can make a statement that it's going to be cheaper to go, everything goes up, and 5 years from now, there is no way that this contract can be lower going out to bid. And like Mr. Salerno said, we did everything we can. We put the bid specs out correctly. It wasn't our fault that Mascara submitted the bid and they screwed up. That happens in business. No matter who it is, you need to bid the way the bid specs are required.
You mean
It was
Waste
their
Management.
fault. This borough didn't award them the contract. The judge awarded them the contract, and you were there. So for you to say that we did something wrong,
I never said that, Mr.
Okay,
DiGiuseppe.
but you're
I
saying-
never said
Yes,
that,
you
Mr.
did.
Solano.
You're saying
I
the
just
council
read the
did
facts.
something wrong.
I said that Waste Management did not fulfill their obligations when I said it. So I don't know where you're getting that I'm accusing you of anything. All I'm saying is, the 5-year bid is up.
What's the point of you bringing that up? If if Waste Management didn't follow the law, then we had to go with Mascara. So why are you bringing it up like we
Well, I'm
lost
bringing
money?
it up because now...
Wait.
They're not
Follow
the
what law?
facts.
It's not that they didn't follow the law. What's that mean?
Now we have a chance to right this wrong and save the taxpayers
How are you
over
going to
$1
save the
million.
money? How?
okay, wait a minute, guys. First of all, do you really believe
Yes, sir, I do. I do
You're
believe.
gonna go out to bid- wait a minute.
Competition is great.
you're going to go out to bid again, and you're
Yes,
going to
in
get a
5 years,
lower bid?
Yes,
Okay.
I do believe that,
Thank
yes,
you.
with all my
Tony, what do you
heart.
have?
All right, just to add on, I was going to do something similar, just not as in detail as Dave, but I'm reading over this resolution. This resolution states, whereas Borough Council finds that it is in the best interest of the borough property owners and taxpayers to exercise its option under the existing December 21st, 2016 contract for an additional 2 years for the period January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2023. And I agree with Mr. Gerard, is that the idea, like to me, it seems crazy that we paid $1,136,000 more than the last bidder. Now, you guys can, you guys can talk about, the intricacies of the contract or whatever, but it's common sense that Waste Management that does this has a bond. They weren't going to screw us over in the borough. Mr. Gerard said it right there. They had a $20 million bond or whatever. So there was something in it. So when you say, Mr. Salerno, that do you want them to break the law? Nobody said, Waste Management did not break any law.
Tony,
Waste Management, no,
Tony.
how did they, Mr. Salerno?
listen to me. We went to court.
I'm not saying you
The
didn't.
law, it's the law. The law said we had to award the contract to Mascara, not Borough Council, the judge. Mr. Gerard was in the courtroom. What did the judge say, Mr. Gerard?
All right.
Wait a minute.
Hang on, you asked me a question.
Okay.
The judge said nothing that day. The judge waited a week and then gave his decision.
But what was the decision?
The decision was, and I said that, the decision was for Mascara.
Okay, so how can we say whether it was 4 million more or 1 million more or whatever?
The point is, they're asking for money in year 4.
They're not asking for
No.
any more money.
The point of it is this, the point of it is this, is that we brought it up prior to us signing the contract. We had a discussion in the back, all right, well, if we are forced to go into this contract, let's just do it for a year. And this was the suggestion of our borough manager. Do it for a year, since we have to do it, and put it back out there. That was the suggestion. But this council moved forward and elected to push it forward that Mascara. Now, on top of it, you're asking us, now I understand that in this time with the COVID, they are struggling with getting people there to work and whatever, but again, I feel bad for any business that is dealing with it, but my concern is with the taxpayers of Bristol Borough, right? So all I've been hearing are complaints about how unprofessional the workers are. They don't even, they're not even wearing uniforms. It looks like they're just picking people up wherever they can off the street and bring them to work in Bristol, which I'm not, to me, I'm a little concerned because do we know where they're even picking these guys up from? Are these people that are working for them, are they vetted? Or are they just bringing whoever they want into the borough?
I can't answer your question. I have no idea.
Okay,
They don't
but-
work for us, they work for Mascara.
Okay, but
Just like
it's
Waste
not the point. I
Management
know,
and
but listen
everybody else.
though, but the idea of it is this. We expect our residents, and we said in here, as the best interest of the borough property owners and taxpayers. I don't think that it's for, because if you pay attention, there's a lot of people complaining about the service. Now, listen, I do feel bad for any company that is struggling, but I don't understand why we need to pay forward. Why we need to pay forward on a business for business that we did not even get yet. We didn't even get any of the business that we're paying ahead of time. So what happens if they go out of business? Then what?
You pay them monthly, so if
Okay,
they
but what I'm saying is, what happens if they go out of business?
stop paying them.
Okay, but we're out. Taxpayers are out.
You're not out. How
We
you
are,
out?
because we had to pay extra.
We
We're
pay
paying-
them after the month.
Okay.
They pick your trash up for the month of December, you pay them in January. You don't pay them in November for December. So we're ahead of them.
Okay, so,
They can't stick you.
all right, well, that's
Good
good
news,
news,
right?
yeah,
That's good
absolutely.
news.
I got no complaints about that.
Great news.
But the point is this, what other companies do you pay ahead of time?
You're not paying anybody ahead of time.
You are paying, you were told us last week, we're paying them put it this way, we're giving them the extension, right? Plus, we're paying them towards that extension, because it's going to be an increase, the extension, right? But we're going to be paying incremental amounts divided over those 2-year extension
months.
period, that we're going to be paying more money. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about.
All right.
We're paying them more money up front for services they didn't even render yet.
Correct.
That's what I'm saying. So to me, it doesn't make any sense. If we're saying we're giving you their business, we're giving you an extension. So that means that we're happy with your service, which a lot of residents aren't, okay? And to me, Why in the world would we pay ahead of time? They should be giving us a discount if we're gonna say, all right, we'll go 2 more years, even though the service hasn't been that good, we're willing to overlook it because you guys are gonna give us a discount. You're not even doing that.
Right.
So, to me, I agree with what Mr. Gerard saying. It doesn't make any sense that we would do that.
All right. Any other questions?
Yeah, I
Mr.
have
Pezza?
a few questions. First of all, I apologize for not being here last week when I know this conversation occurred. I did watch and I did get some emails, and I have done some research on this, and oddly enough, it was waste management that I did a lot of reading about, and that they are asking almost all of their clients to pay anywhere between 15 to 25% more than they had been paying under their existing contracts. They're trying to basically stop their contracts where they are and saying, we're moving so much more waste right now that this is not what we signed up for. What is the term? Can you just repeat the terms of what this extension looks like?
When we sign a contract, we always ask for an option.
Right, yeah, yeah.
There was a 2-year option
Right.
that we want to exercise for the simple reason it's going to be a lot cheaper.
Right. Can you
Waste
explain that a
management,
little
now that we're
further?
talking about companies, which is true, in Newtown, where a friend of mine lives, that twice-a-week pickup has just told them, and I said this last week, I didn't want to bring up the name, they're not picking it up twice a week anymore. We only can pick it up once a week. And we're picking less up for the same amount of money.
Right.
So when Mr. Devine says they should be giving us a discount, nobody's going to give you a discount. And the cost is through the roof. If we don't exercise this option, I can guarantee you that our costs will be dramatically high no matter who bids the job.
My question is,
So what we're doing is,
Yeah.
instead of paying more the following year, which is, I don't know how many thousand, you know how much more?
Yeah, we pay 106 a month now for the
Yeah.
5 years. So next year, we would have paid 106. In 6 and 7, it would go to 120. What they've asked us to do is blend those 3 years. So starting in January, we're going to pay 115 for next year, but we're also going to pay 115 for the 6th and 7th year as opposed to 120. Same amount of money, except we're accelerating for next year, but we'll be paying less than we were supposed to the last 2 years. So in terms of a budget, it gives us some continuity.
Are my numbers correct when I say that's about a 10% increase over what we're currently paying?
What is 106 to 120?
Yeah. Roughly, maybe 11, 12, something like that.
412.
14 divided by 106. Oops, 14 divided by 106 is 13%, which is in the contract.
Right.
13% increase.
So when I had looked into this before and I asked some questions, I think, the question that I would ask at this point in time, not in a revisionist kind of way, we fought about that old trash contract before. We were advised by our solicitor that we couldn't vote for an illegal contract, which is why we didn't vote for an illegal contract. But the simple question for me is what's in it for us, right, at this point in time? What's in it for the borough? And from what I am looking at, the projections are that trash costs are going to go well beyond 12 or 13%. And that if you're running, whether it be a borough or a business, and you see an opportunity to lock in a contract at a rate that will probably be less than what it would be had you put it out to bid, I think we can revisit all the arguments about why we did it in the first place. We can go there and we can rehash history, or we can look at this one on the face of it and say, this is actually making us financial sense. The other thing I would say, though, I do agree that they're having a tough time, right? And by the way, it's also the law of supply and demand, right? I mean, there's literally a supply of trash that is exceeding our ability to keep up with it, which is why trash companies are going up so much. It's not just Mascara. I do agree, though, that we need to hold their feet to the fire. We need to tell them that, if we're going to be signing on the dotted line here, the expectation is that you use that money to get the extra staff that you need. You use that money to not miss our trash on certain trash days, which I know is easier said than done, and they've been very communicative, and I appreciate that. But at some point in time, we got to make sure that with the increase in our cost is going to come more regular and standard trash pickup without the interruptions that we've seen.
I really believe that you're looking at a good 6 to 8 months before things get back on track.
Okay.
For every business owner.
Right.
Mr. Devine.
Yeah, well, to me, just to add on to it, and I understand what Mr. Pez is saying, but what I'm saying is, if we look at it this way, we have a 5-year contract, we're only in year 4, we're still going to have the ability, at the end of the 5 years, to talk about the extension. Why do we have to do it now? Is it just good faith so we can say, look, JP Mascara, we love you guys are doing such a good job that we're going to take care of you and sign the extension early. If that's the case, that's the problem that I have, because there's a lot of people in the borough, taxpayers, who aren't happy with it. So like, it gives us, if they have another year to go, give them a year, let them try to get their stuff together, and let's look at it. Let's look at what trash is doing. Let's see if the COVID has made its run and people get back to normal. So I don't understand what's so hard about waiting. I don't understand why we have to do it now, is the question.
We don't have it here. Eddie, what do you have?
I understand everybody's concerns, and I'm listening to everyone. I'm sorry, too, I wasn't here last week, but I did watch the meeting. I know that there's different guys, because my grandson likes to stand by the window and watch, and there's always somebody different working for them. But this is a company that comes back the next day when they can't finish it. This is a company that's picking up more than the normal trash, because we have so many people sitting at home. And it's not anybody's fault, it's with COVID, people are home and there's more trash, and they're still picking it up. I know in some areas, or some towns, they're only picking up a trash can, and they're taking all our trash. I've complained many a times when I see people, take out furniture and stuff, because they move and they leave like tons of trash. I mean, there's reasons why this is going on, and reasons why, but they still come back the next day. And trust me, I got the manager's phone number to the trash company on my phone, because when something isn't done right, I just call and they come back and take care of it. So I understand why they need us to prolong this contract.
I just think that before COVID, nobody had complaints. Look, you get a complaint here and there, there's nothing you can do about it, but they've been a company that's been good to the borough. They do what they have to do for the borough. There's nobody going to tell me that, you could tell me what's going to happen in 5 years from now is going to be cheaper. I mean, that's just a ridiculous statement to make. I don't care what company you own or what product you're buying. It's got to be more money 5 years later than it was when you first started. It's just
Everything's
literally
going on
impossible.
right now, everything.
Well, you got lucky with the roads when you did them, didn't you?
Right? 35,000. It went up. Per unit. So I'm saying total cost. Mr. Gerard.
Yeah, Greg, when you do your 13% equation there, don't forget to add in the almost $1.5 million extra.
there's nothing you can
That
do
will bring it,
about it.
that will bring it down a lot. And listen, I'm a firm believer in competition. If nothing else, if Mascara knows that we are going to put stuff out to bid at the end of this contract, they will sharpen their pencils. I don't have anything against Mascara, but they're going to sharpen their pencils. And believe me, Waste Management will not make that mistake twice with those 8 damn words. That's all.
All right, just so you know, is there any other questions? Just so you know, you can't negotiate the option on the contract. The option is the option. So you either don't do the option and roll the dice, which you'll 7 out, or you do the smart thing, the taxpayers will have no increases because we know what the the cost is going to be over the next 3 years, and we're getting close in that fund also to pay for this trash. So things are getting very dicey on the trash. Mr. Devine?
Yeah, we don't have to make that option for a year,
Okay.
right? Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Right.
Right? We don't have to make that option right now. We don't have to make that decision right now.
No, it's
do we?
not true.
Well, I'm asking, when,
It's got to be exercised 6 months before the contract ends.
6 months before the contract?
To be by June.
Okay, so we got 6 months that we can wait.
All right, any other questions or comments? All those in favor?
Wait, can we get a roll call vote?
Roll call.
Mr. Gerard.
No?
Mr. Devine.
No.
Mr. President.
Yes.
Ms. Cullen.
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Mr. Gorman.
Yes.
Mr. Petroci.
Yes.
Mr. Di Giuseppe.
Yes, motion carries 6-2. Number 10.
No.
Motion to accept the cooperation.
I'm sorry.
A motion to accept the cooperation agreement with the Bucks County Redevelopment Authority to redevelop the Chestnut Street and Elm Street area.
Second by Ms. Cullen. Questions or comments? Mr. Devine?
Yeah. Could you explain to the residents, like, what is the purpose of the cooperation agreement with the RDA? I understood it when we did it with Mill Run because it was another company that was purchasing, but we already spent our money, taxpayer money, for the majority of these properties. So what benefit does the RDA have for us?
You want to explain it? It's
Yeah,
easier.
so once the cooperation agreement is signed, we will transfer those properties into the RDA name. So they can negotiate contracts for demolition or whatever. We can't do that. They can negotiate the purchase of if they go that route, or we ask them to go that route, they can negotiate the purchase of those last 7 properties. We can't do that. When it comes time to solicit developers, they can negotiate those contracts, we can't. So it gives them much more flexibility, also gives them an opportunity to get perhaps some grants for infrastructure. But under this agreement, even though they'll own the property like with Mill Run, they do not make any decisions without council first approving it.
So why can't we negotiate contracts for demolition or contracts?
We have to put it out to bid.
So they'll do all that work. Now, the next question is the RDA now responsible for the upkeep of those properties?
No, I believe under the agreement, we'll retain that responsibility.
Okay.
Because if they do it, they charge us an administrative fee, so we'll do it.
Okay, so we are asking for Elm Street and Chestnut Street. So where's that money going to come from to buy those houses on Chestnut Street? Why is it all together in one? Why don't we just do Elm Street now since we have all those houses?
Because that's what we're voting on.
Well, the other thing
No,
is...
we have Elm Street and Chestnut Street together.
Right, exactly.
Well, I'm asking, why don't we just have it under Elm Street? Because we already bought all those properties. Why would we link it with Chestnut Street? And there's still, how many properties there's still?
7.
There's still 7 that are,
5 owner-occupied, 2 are rentals.
okay, but I'm saying we still have why would we include
I
Chestnut
think
Street?
the solicitor just explained to you why, because the redevelopment authority could go negotiate with the people that live there, which we can't.
Negotiate in what? I'm saying how,
Sale price,
okay, but how are they going to, where's the money going to come from? The RDA's going
come
to,
from us,
where?
from us.
Okay, but what I'm saying, where are we getting the money from?
I'll explain that during our budget.
You know,
Well, I would like to know now before we vote on it.
the other thing is...
Where's that money coming from?
Yeah, Mr.
The RDA may find a developer who would buy those last
Buy it,
properties
take
and
it.
buy the borough property, so we may not even be involved in that. That's the flexibility they have. They'll go
Okay.
out and look for somebody.
All right, so the question is, where are we going?
So, in our budget, Mr. Dillon's making a recommendation, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't have a lot of time to sit down with him because how busy I am. But if you look at debt service, he's lowering it from 8.82 mils down to 1 mil. In that 1 mil, he feels that if we have to go out and borrow $1 million for this project, that 1 mil will cover it.
Okay, so we would go out and, so 1 mil would be how much money would that be for the borough?
72,000.
72,000 would be enough money to buy 5 houses, 7 houses?
No.
Finance for the year.
It's like payment of $1 million bond.
Finance payments.
How many houses are there? There's 8.
Seven.
7,
So what are you saying, we have enough room in the debt service to borrow more money? Is that what you're saying?
borrow money, whether we have debt service or no.
No, I'm saying, is that what you're saying now? You're saying that now that we have 1 mil, we have room of 7.8 more mils
No.
for the debt service
No.
that we're going to borrow. So what is the purpose of bringing up the debt service? You laugh like,
Well,
do you
because
think
I don't
people, wait, do you
understand.
think that people watching TV, regular residents,
Yeah,
understand what you're doing? No, they don't.
I think they do. I
No,
think
they
you
really
get it.
don't. No, they really don't.
Well, it's sad.
No, it's
because
not sad.
what Mr. Dillon is saying, he left 1 mil in debt service.
Okay, 1 mil in
1
debt
mil,
service.
you asked how much it was worth.
That's worth
I said
72,000.
72,000.
Okay.
72,000 is enough to borrow $1 million and make the payment.
Okay. Borrow $1 million, okay, is what I'm saying. We're gonna borrow $1 million. Where's that $1 million going to be? When we borrow that million, where are we putting it in our budget? Are we putting it into debt service, is the question.
If we borrow the money, it's going to be used to purchase these homes.
Okay.
So when we get the money.
Let's try to, I'm gonna ask, I don't know how to make it any clearer. When we borrow this $1 million, is it going to go, that $1 million loan that we just bought, that we just acquired, is that going to go into our debt service?
To pay it.
If we borrow.
So the answer is yes, that's all.
I want to put the if in
Yeah, if you're gonna have to, right? Because what I'm saying is this, so we bought the rink, right? And this all leads to the same thing. We're taking opportunities of recreation
Right.
away from the borough residents.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
And where are these 14 people that you're gonna have come?
I didn't even ask them. They don't need to explain anything to you.
No, they don't, because I want to make sure, because I'm going to get somebody to write a letter, I'm going to get 15 signatures.
Good.
All right?
Fine.
And then we'll read that.
You can
Lou,
get
would
all
you
the
mind reading that?
signatures you want. At the end of the day, this council makes the decision.
I understand that. I just want to make it clear to the people. I don't plan on changing anything except to get information to the
Good.
people. That's it.
All right.
You do what you
Anything
want.
else? All right. All those in favor?
Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Roll call vote, Mr. Dillon.
Okay, this is on item number 9. Mr. Gerard,
Those houses are getting in such bad shape over there, I feel we have to do something. My vote on this is going to be yes.
Mr. Devine,
No.
Mr. Peasant,
Yes.
Ms. Cullen,
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Mr. Gorman,
Yes.
Mr. Catroci. Yes. Mr. DiGiuseppe.
Yes. Motion carries 7-1.
Miss-
Number 10.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the preliminary 2021 budget and authorize public advertisement for adoption at council meeting on December 7th, 2020.
Second by Ms. Rodriguez. Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 11.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the lease with Verizon Wireless for a cell tower facility on borough property at tax parcel 04-010-193.
Second.
Can we get a-
Second by Mr. Gerard.
Can we get a roll call on that one, please?
Questions or comments? Mr. Devine.
Yes. Is Verizon pushing us to move on this, or is this just something that we want to do right now?
You're pushing us.
They're pushing us? And then, I'm still not comfortable with, the only people that we had come in here and talk about the potential health concerns was somebody that worked for the company. So if we could get somebody in here prior to us voting on it, because to me, $28,000 or $31,000 a year, and I'm not 100%, sure on the potential health risk for residents, especially kids in that area, I'm not comfortable voting on this right now. Maybe,
No,
Anything?
can we
Oh,
do a
sorry.
roll call on this this
So
one?
just so you know, that the tower was 150 feet high,
28.
128 feet high, and I don't think anything is, like Mr. Devine said, ground level for kids. All the towers are well up.
All the antennas are on the top.
Yeah, on the top of the tower, so.
So I would just like to say, I've been, had some healthy back and forth with people on this before. I have no idea where anyone stands on this one, to be honest with you, but I just think where it's located, I've been saying it from the beginning, that I'm in support of it. I just think it's actually a good thing. I mean, I get what Councilman Devine's saying. I think his concerns are noted. I'm not saying that that is an unreasonable position. I'm just saying that from what the science that was presented, I feel comfortable with that, and I just think getting that money
Mr. Gerard.
would not be a bad thing.
Yes, thank you. I listened to Verizon. They want and need this tower because they're dropping calls. So we're going to get, and also listen to this chamber, some of the discussion that we have. And we're going to get a tower in that location.
Anyway.
Okay, whether it's on our property or whether it's on private property.
Does who?
That's just my feeling, Mr. Devine.
Oh, okay, but nobody said it, just
my
a feeling.
Just listen to the conversations. I know if I own Keystone Lighting, right, and Verizon said it had to like make $30,000 to $40,000 a year if you're running some 40 by 40 piece of property, I'd probably do it. The other thing too is, if you looked at, I asked everybody to go down and look at the water tower last week. I mean, it's loaded. I know we have another cell tower out the end of 413 there that we make $18,000 a year on that, Mr. Dillon. The other cell tower, is that correct? A little bit more than that. So, my thinking is, if you're going to get a cell tower over there, whether it's on our property or it's on private property, why not take the money for the taxpayers?
Wouldn't you want to know that it's safer, especially anything when we're dealing with kids? The only person that we had come in and tell us anything about the science was somebody that worked for
I
Verizon.
don't have a problem with that.
All right, but that's all I'm asking.
If you want to postpone this vote.
Yeah,
till-
that's all, I got no
till-
problem voting on it.
Till
We,
council gets somebody else in there, I don't know who they would get that's an expert on cell towers.
well, we can,
I have
listen,
no idea who.
Ralph, you could get Dr. Manarino, you had him in here for a COVID specialist. Maybe you could have Dr. Manarino come in again.
Okay, so second.
Any other questions or comments? The only thing I can say is that they got to go in front of planning and zoning.
They're going to go to zoning and then come back to us for
So maybe we
land
can
development.
ask the zoning board to have them bring somebody to that meeting, because the zoning board still can turn them down if they don't like what they hear.
Okay.
So I think we could show up at that meeting and listen to what's going
Yeah, and
on.
a light what just went off, and I totally forgot, and he just reminded me. Yeah, that was, to Mr. Devine's point, I think we still have opportunities to hear if there's gonna be any problems moving forward.
Okay, all those in favor?
All right.
For a roll call vote, Betty did.
Eddie wants a roll call vote.
Yes.
No, and only because of,
No.
no, it's just, I can finish, I can say what I want to say.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Ms. Cohen,
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez,
No.
Ms. Williams,
Yes.
Ms. Burgess. Yes.
Yes. Motion carries 6-2. Okay, so that ends our voting. All right, let's talk about the budget real quick. You asked us to put this together. I did some phone calls with Mr. Dillon back and forth. The debt service, we are lowering it from 8.82 mils to 1 mil. We probably could have got it down to a half of mil, but like I said, Mr. Dillon thinks that if we want to move forward with Chestnut and Elm Street, it's better to leave this in than to go back later and say during the middle of the year, well, we want to go borrow money to do this project, and we got to raise taxes the following year. So I say, I mean, he's the manager, I agree 100%. The other two funds that whether we did anything with Chestnut and Elm Street or the rink, the recreation fund hasn't been increase, so he's recommending we increase it by 3, what is it, Johnny?
.32 mils.
0.32 mils, which is only a few $1,000s, because we did talk about doing stuff with recreation, so maybe that'll
We've
help.
had an increase in the recreation fund since 2009.
And then you're recommended, Jim, in the street lighting,
1 mil. We've been living off of balances, plus electricity continues to go up. And the last time we had a millage increase in the street lighting fund was in 2006. So it's like 15.
Quick question on the street lighting, please.
David.
Yeah, I noticed that sometimes the timers don't go on, them streetlights are on 24/7. Is that part of the reason, because we're using more electricity, because those timers aren't going off?
Let me explain how it works. There's so many streetlights in town. They calculate all them streetlights going off from dusk to dawn. And that's how they create a bill. Whether they're on or off or 24/7, it doesn't matter to them. What matters to us is we're paying for electric. If they're not on, that's why we hope people would just call, like Mr. Gorman said last week, call the borough and say you got a street light out, although it cost us money to replace the bulb and everything else, but we're on a fixed cost with Pico. There's no meters, so it's by the volume of streetlights that you have. So Jim's recommending a mill because the surplus is gone. And don't forget, when we raised this, it was to change a lot of the lights that were bad over the years. So we are getting close, so that's his recommendation. Everything else, to me, is the same in the budget.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions on the budget? So Mr. Dillon's going to, we voted to advertise the budget for public inspection. Right, Mr. Dillon? Right. And something we'll adopt at the December meeting. Pardon me? December 7th meeting. If anybody has any questions, so we don't have to deal with it on the December 7th meeting, please email the manager. He'll get back to you with any answer you need on the budget. I don't want to come here the 7th and discuss the budget.
Can I add just one thing for December, because December's always such a long, or the budget
I'm not
stuff.
probably have any mute singing or anything. So I'm saying it's just going to be a normal meeting.
Okay, 'cause my question was, can maybe we get a list of anyone that applied for any of those boards and commissions that sent in an email for an application? Because I think we extended that deadline to November 1st, so we can just see who any of those new applicants were that
We could deal with it at December meeting, or we could deal with it next year. I mean, there's no
Yeah,
urgency
I'm
on
fine.
it.
I mean, I don't think it's a rush to do it in December instead of January. It's just we set that November 1st deadline.
So,
If we
we
could
can-
just start finding
if we
that out.
decide to do it at December 7th
Okay.
meeting,
I
we'll
got it.
have a list prepared. Any other questions or comments?
I would just like to say that Wednesday is Veterans Day, and it would be nice if everybody showed up at the Veterans Memorial.
When is that, do you know?
I think it's at 9:30, but I'm not exactly sure. Sorry, I should know that, but
I'm sorry, Mayor.
What's that, Dave?
that, 30?
No, I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't hear with the mask,
When you sold the skating rink, what really appealed to me was a lot of things. Okay, the debt service, the tax reduction, but I do, I'm going to hold your feet to the fire a little bit. I did hear you say you're going to take some money and repay that basketball court. I think that's great. And you also, if there's any money left, you're going to dig out those roots on the path. Excellent idea. And if there's anything left, work on the ball fields. Are they still in your
Just
plans?
so you know, the routes on the path are almost all gone and already done.
I was down there, yeah, I see some
I think
places.
the only spot we have left is out here.
There's two routes on the path.
But there's one left or two left?
Two.
So
How about the court?
that's already being worked on. We're hoping to finish this year because the path is used more than anything.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good thing. How about the courts?
The courts
Yeah, we-
is something that we're probably going to have for the spring. soon as the weather breaks, we could have something already.
That's still on your
Aren't you
agenda?
working
though?
with-
Absolutely.
Aren't you working with the school board?
The other thing is, yeah, I'm glad Dave brought that up, because I had a meeting, what day did I meet here? Friday morning with the president and vice president of the school board, Mr. Ciccoletti and Mr. D'Angelo. We had an outstanding meeting, I thought it was, moving in the right direction with recreation and what they feel is what this town needs. I think both of them, and Mr. D'Angelo had a whole list of things that he talked about from when they were kids at the park and things to bring back. So I think we agreed on one thing, and I'm going to expand on this committee more than just me. I think I'll add some council members, and they're going to add some school board members. We're not reaching out to anybody in the public right now because we want to put a plan together. But I think the positive thing is that they feel, and I feel, agree 100%, that we have enough programs in town and we have enough open space in town that we don't need to add any more playgrounds or parks or anything. We need to expand on what we have. And, I mean, that's, the three of us definitely agree on that, and that's the direction we're going to move in, whether some people are going to be happy, some people aren't going to be happy, but I think that, you know, maybe lights will help. I think that they have an open space on their corner that'll help. So I think that, like I said, we'll continue our talks. We're going to meet again in December. But I think that Mr. D'Angelo and Mr. Ciccoletti had some very good ideas. And like Mr. Ciccoletti said, he was in charge of a pool for 30 years. Anybody thinks you could put a pool in, you got to be out of your mind to even consider something like that for the taxpayers of the state. So it went good, and we'll continue.
Good, thank
All
you.
right, any other?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second by Ms. Rodriguez.